Let's be clear, the Nintendo Switch is an amazing console. It's an amazing rebound from the Wii U and an amazing amalgamation of Nintendo's history. It's almost like 3 decades of hardware and innovation were leading to this product, this application. And for new owners, the console does have an attractive lineup of first-party titles. In my opinion, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey, and Splatoon 2 are 3 of the best games Nintendo has ever produced, and that's really saying something. However, you knew that was coming. Those 3 aforementioned games all released in 2017, almost 4 full years ago. The same goes for other stellar exclusives like Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. It's no secret that the majority of the Switch's best and highest selling first-party titles released earlier in the hybrid console's lifespan. With the Switch, Nintendo really came out of the gate swinging, and for good reason. But I can't help but sense that the company has slowed down and become stagnant and even complacent as a result of its newfound Switch success. Now, I have been a lifelong Nintendo fan. The first video game console I ever owned was a Nintendo console, but that doesn't mean I won't call it like I see it. And while we don't know what's truly going on behind closed doors from a strategic standpoint, it simply does not appear that Japan's richest company is doing everything in its power to be friendly toward its consumers, and that includes consistently producing quality entries in beloved series. With the exception of Breath of the Wild, it does not appear Nintendo is interested in developing sequels or even proper DLC for many of its popular games. I get the impression that we're lucky to have whatever we get from them during these years, that perhaps they believe sequels will hinder existing game sales, will oversaturate the market, to the point that they're not even bothering to develop sequels in the first place. I don't know, it's all speculation, but it does make me think back on the good old days, like when we got 2 mainline Pikmin games on the GameCube, or 2 mainline Zelda and 2 mainline 3D Mario games on the Wii. So with that in mind, I've put together my personal wish list of the 7 sequels I'd love to see hit the Switch before the end of its lifespan. It was hard to narrow this list down, but I did try to be realistic. I really believe each of these hypothetical sequels deserves to exist, although I realize if these games are not secretly in development already, it's unlikely they will happen, at least during the current Switch's shelf life. But I can only hope. So here we go, from less deserving to most deserving. Let's start with number 7, Splatoon 3. Splatoon 2 is a technical masterpiece on the Switch. This colorful, fast-paced game runs at a dynamic 1080p and a rock-solid 60 frames per second. And while I know it's not attempting to perpetually render a taxing open world, it's still proof positive that the Switch's hardware isn't as weak as we're often led to believe it is. It's why I don't have a lot of tolerance for Switch games that can barely push 720p at 30 FPS. Splatoon 2 has spoiled me, not only with its performance, but with its extremely fun minute-to-minute gameplay. It's a brilliant and addictive formula, especially Turf War and Salmon Run. But after 40 plus hours of Splatoon 2, I did begin to wish for new clothing items, new weapons, and new maps. I began to sense that I had seen and experienced just about everything this game has to offer, and that's not a complaint. This game in and of itself is great. I just don't see why after almost 4 years we can't have new maps and new clothes and new weapons, why we can't have a fresh experience, why we're limited to 1 entry per series per console. I'd hate if it were another 4 to 5 years before we saw Nintendo produce another Splatoon sequel. Moving on to number 6, Super Mario Party 2. Do you remember when the GameCube got 4 unique mainline Mario Party games? I do. And while I admit 4 games on 1 console is borderline unnecessary, I think 2 is a perfect number. Especially because Mario Party games are clearly simpler to develop than, let's say, 3D Mario platformers. The Mario Party series is a favorite of mine, and it always baffles me how game journalists seem to score these games a 7 or an 8. It's like, compared to what? Breath of the Wild? These are party games, and most of them totally succeed at what they set out to do. These are as fun as couch co-op party games get, and Super Mario Party, which released on the Switch in 2018, is one of my favorite Mario Party games to date. Partner Party in particular was a great new addition to the series, but this game did feel a little light on the board selection, especially when compared to those GameCube entries. So come on, Nintendo, Super Mario Party is sold like crazy. Don't be stingy, give us Super Mario Party 2. Number 5, a new Donkey Kong game, whether it be a side-scrolling country game or an entirely new take on a 3D platformer a la Donkey Kong 64. Now, I know Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was ported to the Switch 3 years ago, but this is a 7-year-old game. Tropical Freeze originally released on the Wii U in February 2014, and with Retro Studios having its hands full with the ongoing development of Metroid Prime 4, I do wonder where the Donkey Kong Country series stands today. I hope not in total limbo. I know Donkey Kong games don't sell like Mario or Zelda games, but come on, it's Donkey Kong. It's one of Nintendo's few mascot characters, and I don't want his games to fall off the map for another decade, much like they did following Donkey Kong 64 in 1999. Tropical Freeze is one of my all-time favorite platformers, and I only wish we had some kind of roadmap from Nintendo here, some sense that delivering more quality DK games is important to them, no matter if it's Retro or another studio handling development. Number 4 is Pikmin 4. I simply adore the Pikmin series. Its real-time strategy gameplay formula is so unique, so addictive. There's no other game or series that for me scratches the itch that Pikmin does. I highly recommend, for anyone who hasn't played these games, go pick up Pikmin 3 Deluxe for the Switch right now, and if possible, definitely go back and play Pikmin 1 and 2 on the GameCube or Wii, especially Pikmin 2. That's the game that really sold me on the series. It offers a ton of content, a ton of replay value, and a legitimately good challenge too. Now, I'm grateful that we can play at least one Pikmin game on the Switch. I was so excited when Nintendo announced Pikmin 3 Deluxe last year. But we have known that Pikmin 4 has been in some stage of development for years. In 2017, series creator Shigeru Miyamoto himself confirmed that the game is still in development, still coming along. Yet, here we are in 2021 with no word on the status of Pikmin 4. The game is obviously not a high priority for Nintendo, but why? The company is so rich, has so many resources, I just can't understand why seemingly nothing can be spared for Pikmin. And if the concern is that the game won't sell like Animal Crossing New Horizons or something, then invest in marketing, help customers understand why they need to experience this game and this series. Because not every game speaks for itself, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Pikmin 3 originally released on the Wii U all the way back in July 2013. Good grief. It's definitely looking like it could be a decade or more between entries, which is unfortunate. But I am holding out hope that by the end of the Switch's shelf life, whether that be 2024 or 2025, we will finally see Pikmin 4, because this series deserves the love, it deserves the spotlight. Number 3, Mario Kart 9. Alright, Mario Kart 8. This is a 7-year-old game, originally releasing on the Wii U in May 2014. And I know the 2017 Switch port, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, has long been the console's best-selling game. Last I checked, it has sold over 33 million copies. That's insane. But why should success hinder new development? Nintendo executives haven't explicitly come out and said this, but I just sense that they do believe if the most current entry in a given series like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is actively selling well, despite the fact that it's a 4-year-old port of a 7-year-old game, they're just not going to develop a sequel. They'd rather keep selling the current game. They're more fearful that a sequel would hinder the previous game's sales than they are motivated to give their loyal customers new quality experiences. It's especially frustrating when you see the support they're giving Mario Kart Tour, their mobile Mario Kart game that launched in 2019. They're willing to add new courses and characters and costumes to a gacha microtransaction game, but they apparently cannot be bothered to serve their console customers. Even if Mario Kart 9 only sold half as many copies as Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has to date, that's still more than 16 million copies. That's a raging success. I don't know. This one really frustrates me. How many more years will Nintendo expect console owners to continue racing on the same tracks with the same characters? Mario Kart 9 would be a huge announcement for the company, and we all know it would be a success. Number 2, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle 2. Mario plus Rabbids is such an odd case. Nintendo gave Ubisoft the keys to the Mario Castle. They actually allowed a third-party company to develop a wholly original Mario game. I still can't believe this happened, and I still can't believe how freaking good this game is. Mario plus Rabbids is a top 5 Switch game in my book. I had so much fun 100%ing this game and its Donkey Kong DLC. It's such a tricky game to describe because just saying that it's a turn-based tactical RPG with Mario characters, I don't know, it doesn't do the experience justice. This game is almost 4 years old, but it's still one of the best looking games on the Switch. The animation work is off the charts, and composer Grant Kirkhope, known for his work on many classic Rare games, created a fun and memorable and whimsical score. Honestly, Kirkhope scoring a Mario game feels like a dream come true. So cool. Ubisoft Milan and director Davide Soliani killed it. They handled this IP with such loving care, and the game has gone on to sell millions of copies and find a very real audience. I can't see why a sequel wouldn't work. This is such a charming game. It would be a real shame if it were a one-off never to be revisited. I follow Soliani on Twitter. He's always graciously fielding fan posts about the game and always expressing how much the game means to him and what a privilege it was to develop a Mario project. But he's never indicated that a sequel is on the way. I just can't see why Nintendo wouldn't hire Soliani and his team to take another stab at it. That's an external team. It wouldn't take any of Nintendo's internal resources away from existing projects. It just seems like a no-brainer. Deep down, even though I'm ranking this game as number 2 on my list from a more objective standpoint, this might be the Switch sequel that I personally want the most. And at last, number 1, it's a pretty obvious pick, Super Mario Odyssey 2. I don't know what I can say about Super Mario Odyssey that hasn't already been said. It's an incredible game, and it just might control better than any other 3D platformer I've ever played. Just running around and jumping and throwing Cappy is a joy. It doesn't matter what you're doing in this game, it's always a blast. It's pure fun. It's Nintendo gameplay at its absolute best. And given that Odyssey has sold over 20 million copies, I'll say here what I said previously about Mario Kart 8. If a sequel sold even half as many copies as the original, it would still be a great success for Nintendo, a financial success. So I don't know. I do sense that 2021 may be the year of Zelda on the Switch. We may very well see a Zelda 35th Anniversary Collection, and we may very well see the sequel to Breath of the Wild by the holiday season. But I truly hope that by 2022 or 2023 that we do see this sequel. Much like Super Mario Galaxy 2, the original game was too good to be a one-off. Nintendo had too many ideas to cram into a single Galaxy game, and I'm in the camp that believes Galaxy 2 was even better than Galaxy 1, which was already an all-time great 3D platformer. And beyond Metroid Prime 4, I don't know how many more truly heavy-hitter games Nintendo could possibly release late in the Switch's lifespan. This would be such a great candidate, and it doesn't require much imagination to think of all the new captures they could implement, all the new worlds and moon challenges they could conjure up, while reusing many assets from the original game. It could be simple. The framework's already in place. Man, my fingers are tightly crossed for this one. I hope the wizards at Nintendo's internal EPD studio are behind closed doors already at work on this sequel. So there you have it, that's my list of the 7 Switch games that deserve sequels. Feel free to share your own list in the comments below. Which sequels do you most want? That can include first-party or third-party games. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you next time.